MCs should be cool and fun and awesome, stylish and slick, badass. One that most people wouldn't expect much of, a seriously underestimated badass. Those are easily the greatest MCs around. Nice to see you at Animeology once again, as we run you through our list of seriously underestimated and extremely badass MCs. We know you've probably seen the big names, so we're going to bring you a list of recommendations you probably haven't come across. Number 10. Nanbaka. At its core, Nanbaka is an absolutely brilliant comedy series. Those of you with the slightest understanding of Japanese should instantly recognize that baka is Japanese for idiot, and that is exactly the sort of characters you come across in this brilliant series. Set primarily in a prison, we meet a number of extremely unique yet lovable characters, joining them about their daily misadventures as they try to break out of one of the world's most secure prisons, but ultimately end up failing and just extending their jail time. An interesting cast of characters from gambling fanatic to ex-drug addict otakus. Nanbaka follows the daily lives of these prison inmates and the guards tasked with making sure they can't escape. After a while, you can't help but fall in love with the many colourful characters of Nanbaka and find yourself rooting for their escape. With reasonably interesting arcs, Nanbaka is more about the scene-by-scene gags and dialogue that will have you laughing out loud. Number 9. Axel World. An absolutely brilliant series that starts off really tame, but instantly takes it up a gear and really fleshes out its themes of romance and awesome science fiction. Axel World follows Haru, a short, overweight boy that is constantly mocked by the kids at his school, with no choice but to turn to video games to escape his horrible school life. Using his neural linker, Haru logs into the cyberspace world and plays virtual squash alone. But his innate video game skills brings Haru to the attention of the extremely popular, insanely smart, and unbelievably beautiful female student council vice president. This dream girl approaches Haru and introduces him to Brain Bust, a top-secret program that accelerates the human brain process to the point that time appears to stop. More than just a program, but a huge augmented reality multiplayer game in which players engage in crazy duels in order to unlock acceleration abilities in the real world. The story really fleshes out and we start to explore every aspect of Axel World. The beautiful story of Haru as he slowly starts to come out of his shell and develop an intimate and complex relationship with the beautiful female council vice president, while engaging in insane battles in this incredible video game whilst unraveling the true nature and purpose of this insanely high-tech game. Number 8. Rurouni Kenshin. An extremely successful and long-running series that focuses on Moroso, a traditional martial art with some insane fight scenes as well as a brilliant sense of adventure and a heartfelt and authentic romance at its core. Rurouni Kenshin tries to be a historical anime more than anything and is set during a period of samurai and wandering swordsmen. Our hero Hitokari Batsuya has changed his name and is known as Humura Kenshin. Trying to forget his past and do nothing but good deeds, he has vowed to never take another life, instead going around and helping the people of Japan whenever he can. But, of course, you cannot leave your life for being one of the greatest assassins of all time behind you. Our seriously underrated badass character sticks true to his morals and tries his level best to restart his life afresh, and be the person he so desperately wants to be. Number 7. Needless. Everything about Needless is badass, from its brilliant action scenes to awesome sci-fi backdrop and aggressive brand of comedy. Set in the near future, the year 2130, around 50 years after World War III, Tokyo has been completely destroyed and nothing but a huge crater. The city is filled with contaminated rubble and is known as the Black Spot. With no electrical power running to it, it's just a dark circular patch from outer space and is one of many black spots across Japan. Outcasts and the poor still fill these heavily irradiated spots and begin to develop strange and unique powers. We follow Adam Blade, an insanely powerful badass that has incredible levels of strength and endurance as well as crazy levels of healing. But Adam Blade has one crippling weakness: his attraction to cute young girls. As serious as Needless gets, it isn't afraid to take a step back and explore the lighter side of things. A fun watch with a lot to develop, some interesting and unique special powers, and a very interesting view on the apocalyptic future. Definitely check out Needless. Number 6. Kaji.
こういうこと。当たり。
We guarantee you that you haven't seen action and suspense like this before. Set against the high-stakes world of gambling, Kaji tells the story of our MC that is getting involved in all sorts of terrifying situations with shady characters in an effort to chase that next win. We follow the story of Kaji Ito, finishing high school and struggling to get a job due to Japan's recession. Kaji wastes his days with pranks, booze, and cigarettes. Always worrying about money and bringing him to tears, his debt collectors come knocking and threaten our hero, but gives him a choice: 10 years repaying his debts, or one night on a gambling ship to settle the whole thing. Once on the ship, our hero realizes that he is a natural at gambling, and we soon get caught up in this epic world of high stakes and underground gambling. With a number of interesting story arcs that take us all over the place and following the highly charismatic, seriously underestimated and extremely badass Kaji Ito. This is an anime series you need to see. Number 5. Inuyashiki. An extremely unique and fresh spin on many classic anime tropes, Inuyashiki showed the anime world that it was not afraid to try something new and really develop on some interesting and highly revolutionary concepts, getting absolutely gross at times with some insane body horror whilst unbelievably emotional and mature at its core. Inuyashiki is a science fiction superhero anime at its core, following an older man with little to no friends and a family that does not care about him. He was making his way through a public park when he is struck by an explosion that replaces his body with an unbelievably powerful mechanical body. Our MC starts to realize just how powerful this new body is, and he starts to dedicate his whole life towards doing good, from healing incurable diseases to fighting crime. At the other end of the spectrum, we meet a teenager that is also affected by the explosion and also develops identical powers, but instead chooses to walk the path of a psychopath and use his newfound powers to murder people, hurting classmates, innocent families, and even young children. Our superhero has a supervillain in an anime that clearly isn't afraid to push some serious boundaries and takes Inuyashiki into a next level. Number 4. Infinite Dendrogum. Seeing a huge level of success as a light novel, manga, and finally an anime series, Infinite Dendrogum takes a look at the MMO anime isekai genre and really presents a very unique, complex, and intricate story with some engaging characters and brilliant story arcs. Set in the year 2043 with the release of an epic MMO game, Infinite Dendrogum, a game with the ability to perfectly simulate the 5 senses of every player. The game runs successfully, and we follow Rigi, a young high schooler about to enter university that looks to begin his adventure in this epic game world. The first fight is epic as the character loses his left arm, but is still able to defeat 2 highly powered opponents, gaining him an insane reputation around the game world as unbreakable. Join our hero as he travels the world and meets a cast of interesting characters while looking in and learning more about himself in the process. Number 3. 91 Days.
コルテオの仇を討つつもりだったのか。
There are few animes quite like 91 Days, an anime that is able to balance some heavy themes of friendship, revenge, betrayal, and family almost perfectly. Set during the height of the mafia during Prohibition during 1932, with liquor smuggling and organised crime running rampage. A young man by the name of Angelo Lagusa leaves and returns after a violent and horrific murder of his family in a mafia dispute. Seeking his revenge, he returns after 7 years with a new name, befriending the Don's son, Nero. Slowly becoming the best friend, but with that core motive of revenge fueling Angelo. We won't say any more for fear of spoiling it, but 91 Days is an absolute masterclass in anime. Seriously underrated, and honestly one of the greats. Do yourself a favour and check out 91 Days. Number 2. Bofuri. An awesome isekai fantasy anime series that innovates on some classic concepts. Gives us one of the most underrated badass MCs in all of anime. Set in this new RPG video game, Katie Honjo does not want to get hurt, using a shield and fully focusing on her defense stats and growing her defense to insane levels. Extremely slow and with no magic, her high defense allows her to take most hits without taking any damage whatsoever. Alongside some impressive creative thinking, allowing our hero to complete quests and defeat battles, and soon becomes one of the strongest players in the game. Considerably more fun and light-hearted with a brilliant sense of adventure. The world of Bofuri is filled with some brilliant characters and some well-thought-out story arcs that had us hooked from episode to episode. An absolutely fantastic series that is a breath of fresh air into the classic isekai fantasy genre. And number 1, A Certain Scientific Accelerator. Heavy on the science fiction with some supernatural elements behind it, A Certain Scientific Accelerator is a successful spin-off from the classic Certain Magical Index series. Set against a similar world, Scientific Accelerator focuses on some vastly different characters in a really unique aspect of the world that the original series did not explore. Set after protecting the Last Order and sacrificing much of his power, our MC, Accelerator, is now dragged into a new conflict of epic proportions. Dangerous missions and a young girl thereafter, the world's most powerful and badass magic user and his friend need to thwart these evil plans and defend Academy City. The world building of A Certain Scientific Accelerator is brilliant, and you don't really need to have seen the original Certain Magical Index series, but you should do yourself a favour and check it all out. They're all so brilliant, trust us when we tell you.